Okay, King Oja episode 41. It's time to save the universe. I feel like this episode is probably going to be controversial and split amongst the fandom, as this episode had the big reveal that Raculus is up for redemption. And the redemption of Raculus has been sort of like a split discussion amongst the fandom. Some people want to see him redeemed, some people don't want to see him redeemed. And I've been on the camp that I feel like Raculus has no redemption or no redeeming features about this character, because ever since episode 1, he's been set up to be a major douchebag, a character that you love to hate. And there hasn't been many redeeming qualities about this guy ever since his appearance, because he's been an asshole since day one. But now it looks like Raculus is the good guy, and he's been playing the long game the whole time with Doug dead. And we're probably going to be learning more about that in next week's episode, which will be the last episode of the year, I think, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, the Raculus redemption. This is probably going to be sort of like a divided topic amongst the fandom, because nothing has been hinted at that this guy is actually setting himself up for redemption. I know that ever since he came back, a lot of people speculated that his whole goal was to overthrow Doug Dag and become like the king of the universe and sort of take over his place. And I get that. I was all for that. I thought that would be like Raculus's endgame. He was going to betray like everyone in the end and then become the king of the universe and be the big final boss of King Oja. But that doesn't seem to be the case. So let's go back and talk about it at the start of the episode, because there's a couple of things to go over with this episode that leads up to this reveal, where the pieces are placed in place, for this reveal at the end of the episode. Okay, so this episode picks up where the last one left off on, where we find out that Gira is the creation, the son of Doug Dag, and everyone confronts Doug Dag where it picks up last time, and they're wondering if they should use their Fangs of Defiance mode, but Yamna says no, because we're still recovering from last time, and Gira's like, fuck that shit, I'm gonna use it anyway. So he gets thunder shocked, and he does a big finishing move on Doug Dag, but it does nothing to hurt him, because, you know, he's immortal, and so is Gira, because Gira is his offspring, his creation, as he's called Gira the Immortal now. So Doug Dag summons, out of all the characters, Gygorg. Balrog's from Street Fighter. Gygorg. You remember Gygorg? You know, the guy who was a big deal, and then he was kind of a big deal for a while, and then he got jobbed out. Well, he's back in this episode to get jobbed out again, which was cool to see his suit, because I do like his suit, but he's brought back and then quickly destroyed. Now, there's also this subplot in the episode where the kings can't get off their throne, because Raculus has this big brain plan that he probably worked in tangent with Dmowski, where, because, you know, the kings do their thing, they destroy their monster, they go back to their kingdoms, and then they sit on their throne. So what Raculus does is he puts a whoopee cushion on everyone's chairs, or their thrones, and if they get off it, it's going to explode because it's pressure based. But this episode did also have a couple of weird funny gags in there, because most of the retainers are brainwashed. I say most of them when it was 2 of them. You had Shirakawa, Yama's retainer, and he's under Hilibel's control, and he keeps tickling him while Yama's trying to figure out a plan to cut the wire. And then you've also got Mophenia, who is trying to deep fry and boil a Mofoon plushie, much to the reader's dismay, which was kind of a weird funny gag, I will say that, because you've got this big pot of oil or water, like ready to boil, and then there's a plushie about to be deep fried, which is crazy weird. So this plan is to keep everyone at bay so Dmowski can steal the lance and give it to Raculus near the end of the episode. So in this episode, we've also got Raculus with one of his big brain plans that he's got planned out, and that is having a select chosen few to leave the planet, and once, like, the chosen ones leave the planet, then, you know, Doug Dag can destroy the can destroy Terra and then do what he wants, but then he's going to send the others off to another planet that he can enslave and rule over if he wants to. So Raculus has this big brain plan ahead that sort of leads into his endgame goal that we see near the end of the episode. So we have a rematch again between Raculus and Gira. It's an alright fight, it's a pretty good fight. Not as good as the first one or the second one. It's a pretty decent fight that we have in this episode. But it ends with Gira getting his ass handed to him, and Raculus is about to deliver the finishing blow, because at the start of the episode, you have Raculus having a request from Dugdeg, because he's one of the jesters now. He says, I should have my own set of powers, and that set of powers is to kill an immortal. So now that he's got the powers to kill the immortal, you have this scene where it looks like he's going to betray Gira, but then he ends up turning on Dugdeg, and then it ends with Raculus saying to Gira, it's time to save the universe. So showing that Raculus was a good guy all along, ? So, yeah, the Raculus redemption. I had a feeling this was coming or not, and I'm still iffy on learning about it, because, Raculus is one of those villains that had no redeeming qualities about him. Like I said at the start of the review, he was an arsehole through and through. And for him to turn around and be like, oh, I was a good guy all along, I was playing 4D chess the whole time, I don't know how to feel about that. And then next week they're going to tie it into his past, and it looks like he's been planning this for like the past 20 or so years, which I'm also iffy about, which shows that he's had this plan on the back burner the whole time, and the whole reason why he was probably an asshole to everyone, and including Gira, was because, he's been planning this the whole time. He's been planning this, or their return the whole time, to turn on Dugdeg. So I have very mixed feelings about this redemption, because, Toku has this thing of redeeming villains near the end game, and I'm not a fan of when villains get redeemed in some Toku series, depending on how they're done. And I guess because we've got a couple more episodes to go, we'll see how they go from here. It looks like that Raculus is probably going to make some kind of noble sacrifice in the end, possibly. I'm not entirely sure, but we'll wait and see. But yeah, what do you guys think of the Raculus redemption, for all 5 of you who comment on this King Ohja review? I'm sure this episode might get a couple more eyes on it because of this moment in the episode, but what do you guys think? Tell me down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions. Well, with that said, I'm out of here. Have a wonderful day or night, and I'll see you guys in the next video, whenever that will be. Peace out, take care, bye.